morning, all. Could you please grant me the presentation rights? Hi, all. Good time to start. Any question if you have, you can ask for 1-2 minutes. Unmute yourselves, start talking. Gulchar, Kalyan, Manideep. Any question from the past session? Okay, I will assume that as no. Let me know, is it a good time to start? We have a packed agenda today, so just trying to verify if we can start. Okay, fine. Thank you for confirming. Let me share my screen back. We'll try to cover today's. Again, it is around the DQL and functions. So DQL and set operators, set operator, and DateTime function. Okay, that is what we are going to cover today. And by far, we have studied 3 parts of the SQL. One part is known as DDL, data definition language, typically used for creating the structure. DML, meant for doing insertion, updation, and deletion of the data record into the table. And DQL, the select query. And we have completed the entire structure of the select query, starting from select, join, where condition, group by, having, and order by. So the complete select query is done. Now we are going to proceed to understanding so more operators and capability that is by default provided by SQL Server as an database product system. Okay, so today our ambition is to understand a few of the set operators available in SQL and understand what is the purpose, how to use them, and then move to the DateTime functions. Okay. So today, like I said, our ambition is to, I will just track this tool here. Our ambition is to, let me know if you're able to read it. I don't know whether I can actually zoom it more. Okay. Yeah. And ambition is to understand the set operator and DateTime function, and then we'll actually talk about the set operator first, understand what the set operation looks like, and then we'll actually go into the further detailing about that particular thing. I hope that it is readable now. Okay. We have done the aggregation of the function. We last time we did the aggregate function like mean, max, average, sum, right? Now let us understand in mathematical forms. Typically, you represent a set like this. If you have studied your class 10, then definitely every class 10 up to class 10 and across India, the set operators are definitely being taught. Even if you are not from the engineering background or science background, you can still remember the fundamentals of the set principle. A set is denoted by this curly braces, and then you say the set A, you give a name of a set value. Set contains a value pair, a lot of, it can be a lot of value within that particular set, and it is denoted by curly braces. Okay, so what we say, let A being an set that contains 3 values 1, 3, and 4, B being an set that contains the value 3, 5, and 7. What would be the addition of two sets result, A plus B? What it will do, when you say A plus B, that essentially mean it will just sum up the entire set. What will do, what it actually will do, it will say 1, 3, 4, then 3, 5, 7. So 3, there is 2, 3. Can you see in this 2 set, there is 3 is common between both the set A and set B. So what the total addition value of the A plus B become? 1, comma 3, comma 3, because here number addition doesn't happen. It is a set. So your value becomes a pair value. So what will happen? 1, 3 from here, 3 from there. So 1, 3, 3. Then unique value 4 from here and 5 and 7 from there. Is that correct? That is what a typical A plus B operator does. But if you want to say, tell me what is the modulus value of this A plus B? That means tell me what is the unique value that has come out by doing the addition of both the sets. Then essentially the value that will come out is the unique set of value. It will eradicate or eliminate the duplicate set of value from the set. So the duplicated value in the previous operation of A plus B was 1, comma 3, comma 3, then 4, 5, 7. So I see a duplicate pair of value of 3 and 3 being there. So if you take the modulus of A plus B, that is nothing but the unique value set from the A plus B is 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, right? If you want to do the subtraction of set A minus subtraction of set B, don't go by this wrong operator. I should have done this. If I have to say A minus B. So A minus B would be all the value of 1, 3, 4 minus the common value of B, right? 1, 3, 4 minus 3, 5, 7. What would be there remaining? A minus B, right? 7 minus 2. So you are deducting 2 out of 7, right? So your remaining value will be 5. So what will happen here? 1, 3, 4 are set value and you are subtracting 3, 5, 7. What is the common between both these two? 3 is the common value. So if you subtract A minus B, only the common value will be eliminated. So 1 and 4 will still remain. Can you see that? A minus B operator will go back to 1, comma 4. Okay, that is how the set operation happen. If I have to say B minus A, then 3 is the common, so only 5 and 7 will remain, right? 3 will be deducted from B, but 5 and 7 will be still there. Okay, that is how the set operation works. And what is A and A or B? A or B means what is the intersection of A and B? This is the intersection operator. And in mathematical form, the inverted U is written intersection operator. Okay, A intersection B is 3. That between both the set value, the intersection value is only 3. That is the only common piece. Okay. Now, why did we talk about this mathematical operation? Do remember to do this kind of mathematical operation between two tables. Say for an example, there is a table available called as employee. There is another table available called as employee backup. You want to identify, tell me what are the rows common between both the table. That is a set operation. There are multiple rows and multiple column between two tables. So you want to identify, add both the table, tell me what is the data. Subtract both the table, extract the data from A minus B, table A minus table B. Tell me what is remaining if I subtract A minus B. Tell me what is going to happen when I add up A and B. Tell me what is the commonality between A and B, right? The same kind of question can be asked to a SQL table as well. So that is where SQL Server and SQL as in programming language has 4 set operator. Okay. I will actually minimize the bit or else you will not be able to see the complete form. Okay. So there are 4 operator. One is known as the union operator. It combines both the result. It combines both the result of the table, but it actually takes out only, it eliminates the duplicate value from both the tables, and it only gives you the unique set of data that is available between both the table. So it is A plus B mod. The operator A plus B mod, do remember, union operator is a kind of operator that acts as the A plus B mod. That means what? It will sum up both the result from both the table, but it will eliminate any duplicate record. If you see here, the A plus B is actually duplicating the 3 and 3 two times, right? But A plus B together, if I'm taking a mod, then it is actually eliminating the duplicate value. The similar operator is union operator. Union combine both the result but eliminate the duplicate record. Sorry. Combine all, union all, it only combine both the result. If there is a duplicate record being formed, it doesn't care about it. It sums up both the results and gives you a final result. Intersect operator. Intersect operator is an operator that actually identifies the commonality between both the table. If one of the rows is common between both the table, it will actually uniquely identify this particular row is common. and except operator. It is a minus B operator. Except operator does what? It does table A minus table B. Whatever data remains in the table A, it will display that. Okay, we'll understand more. Let us understand by example. I'm giving this particular thing in the chart also. You can practice if you have the SQL Management Studio handy. You can do that. I'm pasting that in the chat. You can practice this particular code as well. Okay, create this particular table. So I have created this particular structure on my screen. I will show you what the difference between both of these objects are. Okay, I have created two tables. One of the table known as create table student 2021 and another table known as student 2022. To represent two batches of students. Okay, now if you see this, I have inserted a few rows of data into the student 2021 batches. One is the name of the student and then the total marks secured by that particular student. Okay, there are two representation of that data. Let me show you the data first. Okay, now I'll just highlight this both the tables and select the data rows and show you what the data is available within the table. So in the 2021 batch, there are 4 rows and one row being Robert and 1063, second row being John and 1070, Rose scored 1032 and Abel scored 1002. In 2022 batch, also there is a Robert record that is common between both the table. Can you see that? The highlighted row in 2021 batch, Robert secured 1063. In the 2020 batch, 22 batch also Robert secured 1063. In the second batch, Rose secured 20 secured 1032. Rose is there, but Ro Rose is also there. Can you see that? Rose 13 Rose 1032, and here also Rose 1032 is there. Boss is a unique, very much unique member in the 22 batch, and Mary is a unique record in the 2022 batch, right? So if you see, Robert and Rose are common between both the table. You can see that Rose also and Robert also. If we have identified this data set, I'm going to ask a few questions. I want to ask a question, asking, tell me all the student name from 21 and 22 batch. How do I merge both the data set and represent? There are two grids coming. This is one result set. This is known as this particular data set. People say either they say data set or result set. Do remember this particular result coming out of a SQL query is known as a result set or data set as per the programming terminology. Okay, so the first result set is coming with 4 rows, 2 column. Second result set coming with 4 rows, 2 column. This particular data set represents the 2021 batch result. This particular data set represents 2022 result. My question is, show me the data by merging both the 21 and 22 data set as one table. How do you do that? Now I'm asking to do a plus B operator. Do you remember? I have a data set. I have a B data set. I want to merge both the data set. Do you remember? I have one operator available known as union all that can merge both the data set from the tables. Okay, what I will do remember, yeah, there are some ground rule. I will talk about that as well. Do remember, select, you say whatever column you want to extract from the 2021 batch. You have to say what column you are extracting from 2022 batch, and in between write union space all. Okay, if you do that, then what will happen, both the data set will be merged and only one data row will be formed. Can you see that? What did when I did execute both the query with a union all operator in between them, select star from student 2021, select column 1 and column 2 from 2022, and then in between union all operator. What does union all do? It will merge the data coming from the first table with the second table and form one singular record set. Can you see now table 2021 data with 2022 data got merged and it is forming a new data set. Okay, this is what is the power of a union null operator. Do remember a few ground rules about the union null operator. Let me go to the presentation. If I have written there, I can read about it. Okay, I have given the same representation. SQL linear operator merged both the data set and show the record. The record set, let's see, how does this union all in the graphical terms look like? Say for an example, this is the graph A, this is the graph B. It actually selects all the data, and even if it the intersection area, can you see this intersection area? If there are intersection record, it will not eliminate that, it will duplicate it out. If you see our result, there are two duplicate record because Robert is there in the table 1 and Rose is there in table 1. Robert is there in table 2, Rose is there in table 2. It is not eliminated. It came with the merger, right? It didn't take the distinct values from the table. It just merged the data set from both the queries and displayed the result set. Now, let me go to the union all. There should be a ground rule I have written somewhere. Let me see if I have. No, I did not write the points to remember. Do remember if it is union or union all operator, the one rule is common. Okay, operator need to be same in number in both the table and data type of each of the column must be matching. Okay, these are two ground rule whenever you are doing the set operator. Do remember what I'm saying? If you are adding two columns from the top table, you have to get two column from the bottom table. If you add one more table or some extra data, it will throw error. Let me show you. I'm just adding a static value of xyz. Select query wise, it is correct because I'm selecting a static value. Okay, query wise it is correct. I'm saying Robert xyz and a static value of xyz will append for every row. I'm saying that, right? But if I do this, it will throw error. Why? All queries combined using union, intersection, or except operator must have equal number of expression in their target list. Must have equal number of expression. That means if there are two column in the list, there has to be two column in the second query. If the first query contains 2, second query contains 2. If first query contains 3, then second query contains 3 column. It has to be in that particular manner. That is one part of the problem. There is another part of the problem statement also. Do remember another ground rule. If your data type changes, say for an example, I want to cast this particular data type as cast total mark as varchar. Let's see whether it works or not. It might still work because it is a numeric type of data, so it might still work. It is not a good example. I'll show you some other example maybe. Say for an example, I will just cast it. Let's see, is it throwing error? No, it is because even if you cast it, it is finally converting this particular to a number, and number plus number is still possible. So what you also do need to remember is the data type of the column must also match. That means if it is a varchar, the bottom grid or data type must be a varchar type of data. If it is a numeric, the next data type should be numeric. If you change, say for an example, you want to do this. Can I change the sequence? Yeah, I can. Okay, let's change the sequence. So now what will happen? The second query will yield total mark first, followed by name. Total mark is a number. Name is a varchar type of data. First query will yield name as a varchar, and name is a varchar and total mark is a number. So I'm trying to add a varchar to a number here, or number to a varchar here. Let's see whether it executes and or throws error. Can you see conversion failed while converting the varchar value Robert to data type int? Do remember, if you see this kind of error during your union all, intersect, or except operator, do remember what is the mistake you are doing. The data type involved in both the columns are not matching. That means what is happening, the name is a varchar type of data. Total mark is a number type of data. When it is trying to merge the name with a number, it is throwing an error that Robert cannot be converted into an integer. Why? Because name is a numeric type of form and you are trying to add a number to that, right? Which is name is a varchar and total mark is a number. When you try to add a varchar to a number, it will throw error. And this is the kind of error that you will see, right? A varchar value getting converted into an integer, and that is where the conversion error is coming out. So 2 points to remember: number of columns should be matching, Now the type of the data type should match. Those are the only two ground rule between the operators, set operator. Okay. Now, if you have understood the union all, I will take a pause. Let's verify whether you have any question. If you have any question, unmute yourself, ask. Any questions by far? Anybody want to ask a question? Are you all clear? At least write yes, no. If you have any question, feel free to unmute and Kalyan, unmute yourself and go ahead. Kalyan, go ahead. There is a question. Clear, sir. You are saying clear. Okay, perfect. So I will move forward. Next part. Now we'll go and see second kind of operator. First operator is union all that actually merge both the dataset without eliminating the duplicate record. We have another operator known as union operator. Do you remember union operator? It merge, it exactly works as the union all, but only thing it does, it actually eliminates the duplicate record. Now, if I run the union between the same two table, can you see? I will show you both the results now. This result set is coming out of the union all operator, out of this two record that I did a union all. Union all is matching 4 rows 2 column to 4 rows 2 column. 4 rows from table 1, 4 rows from table 2, right? It is saying 8 rows. It didn't eliminate the Robert and rows, which are duplicate record between both the table. Is that correct? Now, if you go to the union operator, what it identified, can you see? It actually it eliminated the duplicate 2 rows from the second table. Can you see? Now, ideally there are 4 plus 2 unique record, but there are 2 duplicate record also. There are 8 rows, out of which rows and Robert are duplicating in the second record. So what it did during the union operation, it actually taken out the 5th and 6th row from the second table and only add the boss and Mary to the result set. If you see here, now Abel, boss, Mary, Robert, Rose, and John. These are the unique data set available between both the table set. That is what is the difference between the union and union all. Okay. Do remember there is another pattern that you will observe also. Can you see the data in this is the union all operator between both the table. This is the union operator between both the table. Other than seeing the duplicate record being deleted, do you see any other thing that has happened also? Can you see the name is sorted automatically? The Abel A B J M R R. Can you see that? The first column by default is sorted. After that, you will not see any sorting behavior because 1086 and 1070 is different thing. It will sort the sort depending upon the first column. But here there is no sorting done. It is as is from the table. The way it is there in the table, it is just taking out and merging it. Is that understanding correct? Let me show you the data from all the three queries. In that way, you will be very clear. There will be 4 row set coming out. Now, first row set is from the table 1. Second row set from the table 2. Third row set is the union all between both the table. Can you see all the data as is it is taking Robert till Abel and Robert till Mary? Can you see that Robert till Mary, right? The union all is merging all the data, but it is not doing any kind of sorting. It is just taking out, merging them all. But if you go to the union operator, the last part of the code, you see it is merging, it is eliminating the duplicate record, and it is also sorting depending upon the first column data type. If the first column is a the string type of data, it will do the A to Z sorting. If it is the numeric type of data, you had the first column been a numeric data, it will do a numeric sorting starting from the starting with the ascending order. Okay. Do remember one more thing that you should also consider. Let us see one more form. Any question on the union? Is it clear? Are you clear between the union and union all? By now you have understood what is the difference between union and union all. Union does not remove duplicates. Union definitely eliminate the duplicate record. Union all does not sort the data after merging. Union does sorting of the data after merging. Rules for union and union all, column number has to be same number of column, and equal type of data. Okay, that is the ground rule for the union and union all. Now see one more pattern. Let us see. Can I say order by clause in a select query? I can definitely, I should be able to say order by, because uniquely if I say order by, say for an example, I will say order by name ascending. I want to say order by name ascending. This particular query is correct. In independent term, it is correct. If I add this order by name in the other query also, it will be correct. This particular query is correct. But if in a union all clause, if you write order by clause, then it will throw error. Can you see that? A union all operator never allows you to do the sorting. Neither union all, any kind of set operator, you cannot write order by clause in that. Okay. You can do remember, this is also an interview question. Can you write an order by clause in a set operator? Union all intersect and except operator. Can you write an order by in the select query? Absolutely not. You cannot write the order by clause directly onto the select query. Okay. In case, are you clear about that? You cannot write. It is a ground rule that you cannot write an union all order by clause in the independent queries. You cannot do that. Okay, that is a violation of the rule. Now, in case your need is I want to union them all, but then after doing the union all, I want to short them all. Right? How do I do that? In that case, you can use this particular structure. How do you do? I know I can select star from a dummy table also, or a virtual table. Select star from, I can then put a bracket here, a subquery, and I can give a name to the subquery. Is that possible? I always know that I can write a subquery like this. Select star from, and I will give a name to the subquery, and then I can apply order by here. I can apply order by query over here, right? That what it will do, first it will select star from here. Let us see. It will just get the data from the table. Can you see that? If I do the select star from this, actually it is doing nothing. It is just unioning, it is doing a union all. This particular part is returning the union all of the data. I'm saying select star from union all of the data, whatever data is returned out of that. And then you order by the name. Can you see that? Now my name is sorted. If I order by total mark, my result will be sorted by the total mark. So do remember this particular pattern of the operation where this is an interview question. I'm giving in the chart window. Please keep it handy. Control V. Can you, the interview question would be, can you write order by query in the union all and union? Answer is you cannot write a union or you cannot write order by query for the individual queries. But in case you have to do order by after doing the union or union all, what you need to do, you have to use this particular form. Select star from a virtual name of the union or union all operation, give a name to that particular table, name to this particular table, right? This particular query, you are giving a name as AB and order by the column that is coming out of this particular thing. Okay, that is one part. There is another part that you also should remember. There is another part and tricky question that you should remember is, can I not write a total mark and then I will say 2 plus 5, right? This is a valid query because it is just a mathematical operation I'm doing, correct? This particular query is valid. Can I not do 3 plus, can I do 3 plus 7 here? 3 into 8. That is also mathematically correct. This particular query independently is correct, right? Do remember when I will run this particular union all, it will throw error. It did not. It did not. Weird. The result being, okay, let's see whether this will throw error. Yeah, this will throw error. The reason being, in the union all operator, it is fine, but this is the ground rule of a subquery. Why it will throw error? The reason being, do remember the subquery. When the subquery is returning the result from the table, see the column header is missing for the third column. Can you see that? That is where the subquery is failing, saying what is the third part of what is the column name that you are trying to do for this mathematical operation. Can you see that? So I have to give a column name here saying as calculation. I will say calci. I'm doing some calculation. If you name on the first select query, the second select query name also will be calculated the same. Why? It will assume it is getting added. This particular column is getting added to this column. and the column name for this particular column is calc. So let's see, if you do the union null operator, now you will see the result is coming as calc as the header. Can you see here the header is calc, right? And now the subquery will work fine. Okay, do remember this is also a ground rule. If you are using the order by in this particular manner and you have some column that does not have a header, make sure your column has a header available for that. Clear about that now? I'll give this particular signature. Please try with this. Where is my chart window? Students, all clear? Everybody is able to understand both the operator? I've given this particular query practice. Now, we'll go to the third part, intersect operator. Okay. What is the intersect operator do? Intersect operator is going to identify the common data set between both the record set. We know both the record contains the duplicate data as Robert and Rose. Is that understanding correct? I want to say, I'm asking a question. Tell me what is common between both the data set. So I can use an operator known as intersect. Okay. Select column name from table 1. Intersect, select column name from table 2. It is able to directly identify Robert and Rose as the duplicated data between or the common data between both the tables. Okay. Any question on the intersect operator? Ground rule remains the same. Column name has to match, data type has to match, no order by in the query. If you want to write the order by, you have to use this particular format of writing the order by. No other ground rule. Intersect operator identifies the common data from both tables. Okay. Now, if I want to go to the last part, the fourth operator known as except operator. Except operator is the A minus B operator. So say for an example, I have 4 record in the table A. Can you see that? I have 4 record in table A, Robert, John, Rose, and Abel. I know in the second table, Robert and Rose are common. I'm just showing it. Robert and Rose are common. So when I do A minus B, I am expecting the outcome would be Robert minus Roj, whatever will live, the row number 2, John 1070 and Abel 1002. When you do A minus B, it will come out as John and Abel. Can you see that? Abel and John are remaining after doing, this is the A line and this is the B line. Do you remember if I do A minus B, except is the minus keyword. Okay. If I do A minus B, then only data from A table will be displayed, not from the B. If I have to do B minus A, the data from the B will be displayed. If I change the sequence will change, right? If I say you get this data from this table instead of this, so now I'm doing B minus A. See, I'm saying 2022 minus 2021. Now the data from only B table will come out. Boss and Mary will come out. I know John and Rose are common in the table B. So unique data that is available in 2022 will come out after A minus B operation. So boss and Mary are the unique data other by eliminating the common data set. Clear about the except operator now? Any question by far? Students, any question by far on the 4 operator? In SQL Server, there are only 4 set operator: union, union all, except, and intersect. Intersect to identify common, except to identify A minus B, union and union all to do the merger of the data set. When do you want to, which operator? There will be an interview question. There are a few interview questions only on this set operator, and these are very high frequency question. High frequency as in you can assume that it is 8 on 10 question. The question is, what is the difference between union and union all? You know the answer. Union all merges the data set, but it does not eliminate the duplicate record. Union merges the data set and it eliminates the duplicate records. Okay, that is the first. Second thing, you union all does not sort the data. Union shorts the data. That is the second part of that particular problem statement. Now, there is another part of the question. People might not ask you directly, but there will be an indirect question. Can you tell me whether union all is faster or union is faster? What is your answer? What do you think after listening the explanation? Which operator is faster? Union all is faster or union is faster? And if you think one, tell me the reason why do you think it is faster? Anybody want to attempt? Which is faster? I will explain Kalyan the intersect. What is faster between union and union all? Anybody want to talk about? Any guesses? Anybody want to make? Do remember the answer is union all is faster. The reason being, Kalyan is saying union is faster. Absolutely not. Do remember union all is faster. The reason being, it only merges the data and sends the data back. Okay. You think about, I am asking Kalyan, there are two data set. You get the data from table A, get the data from table B, just merge them and show them. That is the first. Second person, I'm asking Kalyan, get the data from table A, get the data from table B, identify what is the common record, you eliminate the duplicate record first, okay? Then merge the data, then sort the data on the first column. Which is more activity? The more the activity, more the time. Is that understanding correct? If you have to do more activity, that means you have to spend more time. In union, you have to do more activity. Why? You are not only merging the data, but you are eliminating the duplicate record. You are also sorting the data. Because you are doing so much of operation, that is why union operator is slower as compared to the union all operator. Union all operator is the faster operator. So these are the two interview questions that you can expect from the set operator side of the uh, study. Now, Kalyan, you have asked the intersect operator. Intersect does what? Identify the common record between both the table. Intersect operator will do what? Identify the common area, right? So if I have to go to the presentation, let me find out the intersect. Can you see here? Intersects means this is the set A, this is the set B. Identify what is common area. Can you see this line, area mark in the line? That means you are identifying the common record set. So set operator is identifying that what record is common between this table and that table. So it found out that Robert 1063 and Rose 32 is common between both the table. Clear, Kalyan? Kalyan, any further detailing needed? Are you clear? Okay, fine. We'll move to the second important part of today's session. Any other question, student? All are clear about the set operator? Rule data type match in both select statement. Was that for the DBs like Oracle, MySQL? We'll study when we study. I will not answer now because I don't want to confuse. Every database product has their own restriction and limitation, but it holds true for majority of the dataset. Okay. The number of column rule holds true for all the dataset. The number of sorry, data type on the column stack holds true for all the database server. When we union two different data type column in Oracle, that works, I guess, except data type, varchar data type, and typement. That is what I said. If you'll try to compare between multiple databases, there will be some variation. Like SQL said, as per the SQL ANSI standard, I am mandating that you have to make the structure standard, not certain custom function standard. Like in SQL Server, while writing the join operator, we are saying that left outer join, outer keyword is optional. You can still write left join. But in other programming language, you may have to write left outer join because they have not made it an optional one, right? So that is where if you compare products, you may find variance. But in SQL Server, if you are using SQL Server as your database engine, that is what the rule you should study. When we study Postgre, I will say that go and do that particular research for that. Okay. When we union two different data type column, what was this? What was when rule again? When we union data type varchar or data type find. Srini, did you get the answer? Would you like to unmute and talk about? Every database product has their own rule. So I would say that when you are studying about Oracle, I do the research for the Oracle. Whenever you are studying MySQL, do the research for MySQL. The ground rule remains same. There may be here and there variance, but majority rule same. Okay, number of columns will have to match. Data type has to match in SQL and Postgre in MySQL. All the three database products. Oracle, how does it work? I don't know. I rarely worked with Oracle, so I don't have, I have limited knowledge on the Oracle side of the business. Okay, fine. So let's move to the next part of the studies today. We'll start with the, sorry, I have not fully recovered yet from the throat infection. Sorry about that. Okay, so we'll start with the DateTime function today. Okay, what I will explain today is how many types of DateTime. This was a question asked once during one of the subject where somebody asked about the DateTime function. How do I do DateTime operation and all, right? So do remember, we'll start with the DateTime function today. I don't know whether we'll be able to finish it out, but we'll actually start with that. Do you remember from the slide number 14 till the slide number 26, we are going to cover the DateTime function, okay? These are all functions, straightforward. You will actually execute and remember the thing. I will say don't take stress, practice it. I will give you some exercise, do practice, because directly no question will come from the datetime function. But in your day-to-day life, you may be doing a lot of exercise around the datetime function. So get yourself versed, okay? So in SQL Server, there are a lot of datetime functions available, okay? I will show you a few of them. Okay, there is some function known as sysDateTime. It returns the date and time of the machine where the SQL Server is running. System datetime offset. It returns the date and time of the machine on running on the SQL Server where it is running plus offset from the UTC. That means UTC is the time zone, right? India is some hours behind. US is some hours ahead. That is how the UTC timestamp stands for. So what it will say that how many hours your current time zone is ahead of the UTC time zone. That is what the system date time offset is all about. If you want to know the system UTC date time right now, tell me the UTC time right now. You can use sys UTC date time. If you want to know the system date time, you will say sys date time. If you want to know the system date time offset, how many hours ahead or behind your system time, you will say system datetime offset. If you want to know what is my UTC datetime currently, then you will say system UTC datetime. Let's execute and then verify. Okay, I will copy this particular part only. So I have given the example for you to understand as well. So three type of functions. Go. I would say these are self-explanatory, but I'm just giving you as an informative, right? So if you do not, if you, there is nothing to understand here. These are function and it will return you some datetime value. Okay. Do remember, if you want to know the system datetime, this is what my system datetime right now, 742, 44 millisecond, 44 second, and there are some millisecond part up to 6 digit or 7 digit, whatever it is, right? 6th of October, and what is that? This particular timestamp is coming from my machine. Why? Because I installed the SQL Server on my machine. So it is trying to read the SQL Server date time from my machine. System date time gets you that particular data. System date time offset will give you the same data. It will say plus 5 hour 30 minutes. That means you are ahead of the UTC time by 5 hour. You are ahead, not behind. Had you been, if you want to understand more about UTC, go do research around the UTC. Okay. And if you don't understand, then come back and ask about the question, because it is a universal standard time, right? UTC. So how many hour you are behind the Greenwich Mean Time? There is a part known as GMT. There is a part of the known as UTC, right? So how many hours you are behind the GMT? How many hour you are behind the or ahead of the GMT? That is what you are actually talking about your time zone, and then it is identifying that particular part. So if you see here, the date time part is there, but it is also saying plus 5:30 hour. That means you are ahead of the UTC time by 5 hour. If you want to know what is my UTC time, then you just type my UTC timestamp right now. On the UTC schedule, right now it is happening around 2:14. Can you see? At our clock, it is 7:44 IST time, but on the UTC clock, it is 2 o'clock 14 hour, right? That is where you are seeing this 5 hour 30 minute ahead of the time. If you compare the second and the third result, this is the second result, this is the third result. Then if you see that UTC clock says 2 hour 14 minute, my own clock says 7 hour 44 minute. That is where it is saying you are ahead of UTC clock by 5 hour 30 minutes. That is what the difference between these three timestamps. Okay, now let's move to the next category. We'll see there are three other functions. One is known as Like the three format, we see system datetime and system datetime offset, system UTC datetime. We have three other functions: current timestamp, get date, and get UTC date. Okay, let us understand what these three times timestamp does. Okay, I have three. Okay, first I'm saying current timestamp, then I'm saying get date, then I'm saying get UTC date. Let's execute these three. Timestamp is going to give me the current timestamp of my machine. System date time and current timestamp will give you the exact information, but what difference can you see? If I highlight all this code, you will see the difference between these three. Can you see the system date time is giving you much more millisecond numbers? Can you see 729, the first record set? 7, it is saying up to date part is absolutely correct between everybody. If you see the time part varies. 7:45:34, 7:29, 6325 is written by system datetime function. Whereas current timestamp will give you up to three part. Can you see? It is doing a round up the value. It is rounding the value and then it is displaying. Can you see that? It is saying 7296325 something, some way it is computing as 727. Can you see that? The actual millisecond is 7296325, but when you are using a current timestamp, it is actually rounding the value up to three digit, and then it is saying the 727 is the total time part. The get date is nearly exactly the same value written by the current timestamp part. The only difference being why I segregated the first three part into this three part. You can see the first three function returned up to 6 digits of the millisecond, but the other three part, current timestamp, get date, and get UTC date. Get UTC date will tell you the clock at the UTC time, but up to 3 millisecond part, that is the only difference, right? Here it was system UTC time, system UTC date time. Here it is get UTC date. Here it is current timestamp, get date, and get UTC date. These are going to talk about the same time on your clock or on the UTC clock, but up to 3 millisecond um, timestamp. So I will actually give this into the chart window so that you can actually practice at your end. Any question by far? Okay, let's move on to the next slide deck. Now, interesting part. There, you might find one or two of interview question from this segment. So I would say practice this. I have given you these queries. Just try to remember this particular function. Do remember there is a SQL Server function available known as date name. Okay, date name returns the date part. Date name means it will return you the date part of your timestamp. Whatever operator you will pass into the date name function, it will compute that, and then it will tell you what part of that particular date it belongs to. Date name function does that. So if I copy this particular part of the code, Control R, and then I will use select date name. Okay, these are my part that I am trying to do. Do remember date name needs two part. Okay, two part are two parameter to the function. Date name itself is a function. It needs two parameter as the function. First part, it says what are you trying to read? What part are you trying to read? Are you interested in the year in the date? Are you interested in the quarter of the date? Are you interested in month part of the date? Are you interested in the day of the year? Are you interested in day or week or weekday? Are you interested in hour, minute, second, millisecond, microsecond, nanosecond, or it is the international standard week? Okay, what are you interested about? Depending upon that, your past parameter is that you will look for in the date. And the second part talks about the actual date from where you are trying to uh, extract the part, right? We have seen what the get date return. Get date return the system date up to 3 millisecond. 3, select get date. I will show you the get date first. Okay. When I do the select get date, it will give you the timestamp of your current machine where the SQL Server is running. This is what the SQL Server timestamp. If I pass get date to this particular thing, you see what comes out. I will do one by one. Okay. I'm passing 22 6th October 22, and I am looking for year part of this particular date time. It is extracting 22 of the 22 from the get date. Are you getting that? I'm trying to extract the quarter part from the get date. Do you remember which quarter we are in? Which quarter we are in? Is it the fourth quarter? If we segregate every three months as one quarter, January, February, March is quarter one, April, May, June is quarter two, July, August, September is quarter three, October, November, December is fourth quarter in a financial year. Is that correct? So what it is doing, if you want to understand what quarter of the financial year you are standing, it is giving you the return as 4. Why? Because you are standing in the October month. Clear about the quarter part? Now I want to know the month part of the date. Month is October, right? If I want to know the date part of the year, tell me which day of the year it is. It is 279th day of the year. How did it compute? It started computing how many days passed in this year. In January, 31 days gone. In February, 28 days gone. In March, 30 days gone. In April, 31 days gone, right? Whatever number of computation of the year it will do, it will say today, being 6th of October, it is the 279th day of the year. Okay. If you want to test this by saying, say for an example, you have to pass always get date? Absolutely not. You can pass a date timestamp also. I'm passing a get date because I know that it will pass a timestamp. But can I not pass a timestamp directly? I can pass. Instead of writing get date, I can also write a timestamp altogether. It is a format of date time. So if I say, tell me 2nd of January, January will be 01, 2nd of January will be 02. If I pass this particular query as the date of the year, it should return me 2nd day of the year. Is that understanding correct? Why? Because 2nd of January is 2nd day of the year. If I say 31st of December, what date it is part of the year? 365th day it should be, right? It is a 365 day of the year. So do remember, if you want to know what is the number of day passed between the start of the calendar year till today's date, you can leverage the day of the year functionality. Okay. Similarly, if you want to know the day, what is today's day? Today is 6th of October. So you can identify which part of the day. You want to know how many weeks passed since the first week. Do you remember it is saying 41 weeks being passed in the year on the date where you stand. 41 weeks, how did you compute? At least how many months gone? 9 months gone, every month 4 weeks, right? So at least 36 weeks definitely gone. But in some months there are 5 weeks also, right? So it is computing those in between 5 weeks also, and then it is saying on October this year, where you are standing in the calendar year 2022, it is saying that 41 calendar weeks been gone. That is where it is saying the week part of the date is 41 weeks. If you want to test further, always pass a date to that to test around, right? So say for an example, I want to test with a random date saying same week, but I will pass a date, custom date to you to compute. Okay, I'm passing a custom date to compute. I'm saying, tell me when it is 31st December, how many weeks been complete? It is 53 week complete. If I say, tell me if it is 1st of February, then that means essentially 4 week must be gone. Should say 4 or 5. 6 weeks gone. 1st of February 2022. Maybe. You never know. 37 into 4 is 28. So 28 plus 1 is 5th week. And then it is saying you are in the February. So you are in the 6th week. That is what the computation is. Okay. So try play around with this particular date time and try and learn and know more. Because one tricky question might come from this particular part. Okay. And that is not only tricky, but in your day in day out computation of your data engineering exercise, you may be leveraging the date name function very heavily for your calculation on the date timestamp, right? So get yourself versed around this particular thing. Similarly, if you want to know the weekday, tell me the weekday, whether it is what day of the week it is. Today is a Thursday, right? I want to know the what day of the week it is. It is saying Thursday. Tell me what is the hour, minute, and second at the clock window, right? It will tell you the hour, minute, and second. It is 7 o'clock, 54 minutes past, 38 seconds past. If you want to say up to nanosecond, 7 o'clock, 54 minutes passed, 49 seconds passed, 166 millisecond passed, 1,66,000 microsecond passed, and then some more nanosecond passed, right? If you want to know of the up to the clock, up to the nanosecond, you have that particular thing. Do look for this ISO week. ISO week will say week 40. It is the international standard week computation. Like I said, when you are passing, tell me the exact week, it is saying 43, right? But if it will go to the computation at every month will be 4 week, right? So 9 months passed, 36 week passed, and October month is the 40th. So it will compute the ISO week to be the 40th week. Okay. So that is the part that you should be looking out for from this particular signature block. Now, if I have to go to the other part of the computation, there is a part known as, one is a date name function. There is a reverse part of this particular thing. You want to know the integer value corresponding to the date name, right? If you want to know, tell me all the date part of that particular query. Date name gives you all the name part of the queries. If you see the number representation, the corresponding number representation of the exact same thing, you can see this. Date part also accept the same thing, year and the date. So you will say date, quarter, month, date of the year. You will see all the things are coming as number. Year of this particular year, quarter of this year, month of this year, day of the year. You can use date part, date name, anything depending upon your situation. Both works the similar way. But date part always returns the value in the number. Date of the year, day, week, weekday, hour. If you see this, everything will be converted into a number and told, correct? Day, week, and weekday. Let's see, weekday, hour, minute. Everything is a number. But in the other case, you will always see the value maybe in some string part. If I execute all the date name, you will see some value will come with a string values. Can you see here, October month is coming as October, weekday is coming as Thursday. Is that correct? And remaining a number. But in case of date part, everything will come as a number only. That is the only difference. Everything will be a number. Exact same result, but the data type written is number. If your business need is compute the value, but translate the value into a number side instead of a string value, then go for date part. If you want to compute the value as a string value, I'm very specific. I want to know what is today's date is Thursday. Today's date being Thursday, today's number date being 4, right? That has two different variety. Is that understanding correct? So if you want to go for that, leverage that other part of the query. Okay, these are the two differential being. Let me go back to ask any question. If you have any question by far, all clear? Because these are all function. You can actually try around, play around with that, and you'll be able to understand. Any question, please key in. If you're not able to understand, unmute yourself, ask, or key in your question. Now we are there at the last part of this last 2-3 function. Now there is a day function, there is a month function, there is a year function. Okay, day returns the corresponding day of the year. Month returns the corresponding month of the year. Year returns the corresponding part of the year function. So if you go and try to identify day, month, year, you will day function accepts the particular date time. Month also accepts the date time only. Unlike the date part and date name, it only accepts the date. Okay, you pass the date, it will tell you the year part of that. If you pass the month, it will pass the month part of it. I want to know, tell me which day today, 6th day of October, month is October, and year 2022. This is the way it actually compute. Instead of doing that, if you want to actually pass a date, it will also compute that. Select get date, copy the date part, and then pass it as a value to the corresponding. How do you play around? Select year of this particular date. Year is passed as a string value, do you remember? So it will give you 2024. I want to say that this is 2024. I want to know what is the year part in this particular thing. 2024 is the year part. I want to say that it is 11th month. Tell me the month of this particular thing. And select month part of it. This is the value for that. Okay, 11th month. So if you want to play around and extract a part of this particular thing, you can either use day, month, or year. Okay, this is another part function for the date time. There is another format. This is only for the time part, time series of the exercise. If you see, this is where if you actually parse something to this type of category of function, it will create a date time stamp for you. Okay, do remember, I want to say date from parts. I'm saying date from part. If I pass 2020 2019, I pass January as a month, I pass one other date. So I want to extract on my server formulated date time for me. Can you see it is formulating a date time for me? 201901-01. That is how my system clock look like. If I do a select get date, this is what the format in my machine, right? So if I want to formulate a date by passing a particular timestamp, if you see year hyphen mm dd, if I want to do that, similarly, I just pass 2019 1 and 1, it will formulate a date time for me. I want to say you also formulate depending upon my time signatures, right? So let me show you all this and then one go we can execute. Okay, the first part will set the date from part. This is what the date from part. Then I'm saying date time 2 from part. Date time 2 will give you the time series part of it. Can you see that date time 2? It is giving you 6 o'clock and some automated series. Can you see that? It is automatically computing some value because I have passed that 6 o'clock in the clock. Can you see that? Now the time is 6 hour in my clock. I will pass 8 o'clock in my clock, right? So it will compute me 8 o'clock in my clock. So time part will be formed saying that 8 o'clock. Whatever value will you will pass, automatically this function will compute that. Date time from part 29, or same example I'm saying, date time from part 2019 1 600. So you will say 6 o'clock in the clock. And then you can go up to GMT if you want to create the offset value. That means how many hours plus or minus behind the UTC. You can do this using this date time from offset parts. Small date time from parts. You will say a small date time. This is like hour, minute, second. There will be no millisecond. This particular function does that particular thing. Time from part, only extract the time. So I pass that 6 o'clock in my clock. I want to say that 7:30 in the clock. 7:30 in the clock. Can you just formulate a time range? 7:30 in the clock, right? So play around with these particular things. I have given the explanation of each of them, and it is self-explanatory, right? You can just look at them and you can understand. You are saying 8, 8 means 8 o'clock. 6 means 6 o'clock. These are year, month, DD, hour, minute, second, millisecond, microsecond, GMT, GMT plus. These are the entire series that you are passing, so that our date time is getting formed. If you see here, 00 and 00 is getting formed. 6 o'clock, 600, and then plus 00 plus 00 and 0. That is how the date time formats is getting created. Now coming back to the there are two mathematical operation you can do. You want to subtract to date and find out how many days passed. That is also an interview question, and also your day-to-day exercise that you may be doing day in day out, right? I want to find out what is the date difference between these two dates. 31st of December 2019 till 1st of December 2019. How many days left? I believe 30 days gone, right? Let's execute this particular query. It will tell you that 30 days is the difference between the first date till the last date. Do remember there is a rule for the deaddiff function is the largest date has to be the first parameter and the smallest date will be the second parameter. If you interchange, then your numbers will come in the negative direction. Let's see that. Okay, I will do the same select get date time. I will put it, but I will just reverse the direction. Either it will be coming in the negative or it will throw error. Let's see. It is coming in the negative 30. Why? Because my short date is short date first, long date last, right? 31st of December versus 1st of January. Sorry, First 31st of, I'm saying it wrong. 31st, this is 1st of January versus this is 31st of January. So I'm saying that 1st of January is the smaller date, and 31st of January is the larger date. I'm interchanging the date time. That is where the minus is coming with a negative sign. If you have to pass the larger date to the smaller date, then it will come in the positive direction. 31 minus 1 is 30. 1 minus 30 is minus 30. That is what the computation is. That is why you see a negative sign on when you pass a small date time first. Okay, that is the only thing that you need to remember. Date diff is used to compute the number of day passed between both of them. Okay, and this is where you are saying I want to measure how many days passed. You want to say how many months passed. There is no month passed, so it will say 0 or 1 month. It is exactly 1 month between both of them. Okay, let me change my date to, this is 2020. Let me make it 2020. How many months passed between this? I think it is not taking, yeah, it is 31st, it is not taking in a proper format. I think, let me do it in this particular manner. Here it is January. This is January. This should be 12. This is 01. I will make it 0101. That means it is January to January. Let's see. Yeah, now it is taking, because I am not encapsulated it in a single quote. It is not absolutely able to compute the particular timestamp. It should be 0131. This would be 01 and 01. That is fine. Minute error. Yeah. Can you see how many months passed between 1st of January 2019 to 1st of January 2020? 12 months passed. That is the answer coming out, because I have passed a month value. Had I passed a day, it will say how many days passed. 365 days passed. Here I am passing the I'm doing the same big day. Do remember, this particular data time returns a integer type of data versus this particular type of data returns a big integer type of data. That is the only difference between both of them. The date diff and date diff big, the data type returns between both the values are going to be, if I pass the same date signature, it will pass the same value. But only thing would be the data type between both of them will be varying. One is a integer value, other will be a big integer value. There are two type of data type, integer and big integer. So answer will be same. One data type will be integer, other will be a big integer. If you want to get the data in a big integer manner, then you should leverage that particular data time stamp. Okay, now there are a few more. If you want to add a day to, I want to add a day to the today's date. See what I want to do. I want to say add a day, one more day to today's date. Today's date is 6th October. I want to formulate a day that if I add a one more day to today's date, what date it would be? It will be 7th of October. I want to add 5 days to today's date. You can do mathematical operator. You want to predict if I add 7 days from today's date, what would be the date? Use the date add function. You want to identify what is the date difference between them. Date diff, then in number of days, larger date minus the smaller date, right? That is how you are going to do. Tell me, what would be the end of month look like? If this is the end of month for first month, if I am saying 22, this is which month? 30 at get date is last day of the next month. Okay, this will always say last day of the next month. Okay, end of month means end of month. This month is October. Tell me the last day of the next month. That means November, what would be the last day of the next month? That would be this. Tell me the last day of December. That means today's month is, I'm standing in October. Tell me the last day of the month of December, 31st. Tell me the last day of this month, 31st October. Tell me last day of last month. This is the way you want to identify what would be my last day of the month. So remember, this may be one of the interview question. Typically, I have seen in interviews getting asked, tell me the first day of the month, tell me the last day of the month. So use this particular functions to compute them. And remember this particular formula, end of month, get date, and then you pass whatever, zero being the current month. After anything that you do, that will be next month would be one, next 2 months would be two, previous month would be -1, previous to previous month would be -2. That is the way you compute the end of the month day. Okay, switch offset now -6 minutes. Can you see today's date is 6th of October? What is the clock time? 8 o'clock 10 minutes, right? Do you remember, if on my total clock value I want to -6 minutes from the clock, current timestamp is 8 o'clock 11 minute, I want to, current timestamp is 8 o'clock 11 minute, I want to -6 minutes from the current timestamp. Then you can see the current timestamp has come out as 6 October 2022, but 8 o'clock 5 minutes. That means in case you want to do the minus on the time part only, use the switch offset. And the total time offset, if you want to do the total time offset, that means entirely it will subtract today's days minus 2 days. If you want to say total time offset -2, that means what it will do? It will entirely offset today's date. If you see, today is October, right? 6. And then 8 o'clock 11 minute. Can you see that? -2, 8 o'clock 11 minute, and then the offset part is 2 minutes, my negative side of the 2 minutes. Can you see that? This is the time series of the offset where you are saying UTC -2 minutes. That is how you are saying it. Or you are saying that in the geographical location, the time that I am representing, it is representing the UTC time -2 minute timestamp. That is how you are offsetting this particular date time value. I would recommend one thing to read for yourself and then ask the question is, if you have never heard about UTC time frame or GMT, I'm 100% sure during your 10th schooling, you must have done the GMT calculation. If your current time in India is this much, and US is 7 hours from ahead of your time, what would be the time? If your current timestamp is this much and Kenya is 3.5 hour behind your time, what would be the time? That is what the computation is all about, the GMT and the calculation, right? Just study about the GMT and UTC and then use these functions to understand what these particular functions are, right? Ideally, you will not need to remember all of them. Like I said, why I actually given the example, there was a lot of curiosity between you folks around the datetime function. How do I do that? How do I leverage them? So all the function put together is available in this sheet. Just play around with them and then exercise and figure out what is not understood. I would explain them all. So you just highlight all of them and execute and verify what each of the function is doing, what every part of the function is returning. Okay. How to execute? You can always verify that, execute them all and see what every part of the date is being written out of the query, and then analyze that. It says self-explanatory. I'm just putting everything in the document so that you can actually put it there. So we'll take a pause here, take some question, and call it a day. Any question from date part of the functions? Anybody want to go ahead, ask a question? I don't see any new question. Guljar, Kalyan, Mohammed, Manideep, Sandhya, Sasi, Srinivas. Today, are there not much of student joined in the session, or is it like they are in the class but didn't join the online? There is a question: in what scenario is this used during data engineering? You know what? You read a data from the Excel file, right? The data is in a string format. You want to compute it in a numeric format. How do you do that? You will convert them. You found data is written in a Thursday, but you want to compute if I have to translate the Thursday into a week part, right? What part it will be? Then you have to convert in some manner, right? You want to know what timestamp. There is no data available in the Excel file or the CSV file. The date time format is null, but you want to append a certain per time format. You found the date belongs to 1 year previous data set. So let me formulate a date time for that particular time window. So in those cases, you will be leveraging the date time functions. You want to identify how many days passed between both the dates. You want to store that particular thing for your data analytics, right? This data is 1 year old, it's a 2 year old, 3 year old, 7 year old, 365 days old, right? You want to do those kind of time mathematics, you will leverage them out. So no one in the there in the class till tomorrow. We are in front of attend online. Okay, fine, fine. Okay. Any other questions, team? Okay, I will assume that as no. Thank you all. Thank you so much for your time today. I will share this all this document right now so that you can start practicing.